What is the future of business education? While MOOCs, massive open online courses, may be part of that future, there's no substitute for industry-partnered business education. That's what we're doing at UTS Business School. But we're doing it differently. We're working alongside our colleagues from Fox School of Business at Philadelphia to provide our students with an environment where they work alongside industry partners to solve real problems for real companies, whether they're startups, not-for-profits or global brands. Ian Higgins has been part of that story. He's worked with us as a client and as an industry advisor. Here he is to tell the story of how UTS is reshaping business education.
What UTS Business School is doing is truly unique. I've experienced it as a client. I'm a member of Conservation Volunteers Australia, and I've also been involved in the UTS program as an industry advisor, advising students looking at the feasibility of an offshore market for an early startup alternative energy company.
I got my MBA about 16 years ago. It was very typical of its time. Sausage in, add some maths, sausage out. The approach taken by the UTS Business School is dramatically and very positively different. Just listen to these students.
What I think is different about this IBC program is that we are now the experts in something we knew nothing about 13 weeks ago. And that's quite an empowering thing. And there isn't a book written about what we've learned or about the subject we now can all speak about to a great extent. We heard from the client tonight that that's exactly what he's reflecting back to us, is that it would have taken them a number of years to get as far down the path as we've got. We certainly haven't locked in what they have to do tomorrow, but we have the most solid foundation they could ever expect to have.
All the mentors have been amazing because they bring their wealth of experience into us to think about something in a different way.
Clearly that commerce structure in Japan is complicated.
These postgraduate students are working with a startup company, EcoWhisper, and specifically concentrating on the problems the company faces in taking its product overseas.
It's been great to work with them. You end up with a kind of a unique hybrid because you've got people who aren't mixed up as closely with you aren't as easily reachable, so therefore they tend to go off on their own ways, which is fine.
The final outcome in terms of defining the Japanese market, that is, and looking into the whole processes and deliverables and how we're going to enter that market, which is the mode of entry, that is an invaluable outcome for us.
It is totally unique because the deliverables are a constant. Every week we're presenting our new concepts.
This subject, I think, has got the balance right in saying, no, actually, the bigger part of what you need to do practically is learn how to work with a range of different people, with a range of different skills, and have vibrant, robust, challenging discussions to reach a far better conclusion at the end of it.
These students are working in an area completely foreign to them, insurance and reinsurance. The company is Willis, and this experience is very new, but very exciting and yes, really hard work.
It was really valuable what you were doing. You weren't pretending, and you knew in your heart that you had to work really hard because they were relying on the information that you produced to take some actions within their workplace to improve their performance.
I think we all anticipated there would be an increased workload compared to other subjects, but I think it by far surpassed what we'd expected, and I know that it put an incredible amount of pressure on everyone. A number of us are working full-time, we have full-time students. I think we all felt the pressure.
The process that we went through, I think, has been incredibly valuable, from the starting out of general readings about the client, getting to know the industry, and moving through the analysis that we did at each stage, and then developing the strategy from the inside. I think has been a very well constructed path to the end deliverable.
But meeting the industry experts, that was where we, and myself personally, I just got so much out of hearing their thoughts and just sort of learning from their experience, which was vast. Phil from Ibis World, I think I was a little starstruck because I've used the Ibis reports in so many of my assignments, and to meet this humble man who was so prepared to share with us anything that he could. he was willing to come back, see us again. That was really fantastic.
Phil Ruthven is the chair of Ibis World, a data analytics company whose clients include half of the top 1,000 companies in Australia and 500 of the top US corporations.
The level of expertise in that room, I asked Phil Ruthven if I could touch the hem of his gown.
Mentors like Phil Ruthven make a real impression, and so do their fellow students.
The combined insight and knowledge in that room, outside of reinsurance, was just phenomenal. I think that was a real high point of, and it actually was the first time we all walked out and thought, we're on the right track. That was our sort of light bulb moment. They were phenomenal.
Remember, this IBC, Integrated Business Consulting, is teamwork. Very good minds working together to solve real problems. Highly respected industry advisor Angela Foley thinks it's the only way to learn the necessary skills.
I've worked with students and had interns come through our companies over the years who are doing MBAs, not at the executive MBA, executive program, who've never sat in a business meeting, or who've never actually been involved in day-to-day running of a company or understanding how a company operates. So to be able to offer to your students the opportunity to work on a real life project within a real life organisation like this and come up with results is just, it should be part of every course, I think. People who I met with and the people who sat around the table with us as part of one of the sessions, a really interesting mix from not-for-profit, from commercial, from different industry sectors, different capabilities. And all of that you could see was actually really important for the team. So some people had strengths in communications, others had strengths in operational and the financials of organisations and thinking about strategic planning from that perspective. So it all just gelled quite well together. And I'm assuming that was part of your plan with the programme, I would imagine, to actually have that good mix of expertise around the table. I've worked for many years here in Sydney. I worked for about 10 years in the UK, but with the Australian government and working with programmes and universities coming through to the European markets as well. And we saw a lot of partnering and a lot of discussion, but not a lot of practical programs that you could really see were benefiting the students and actually getting the students ready for advancing, you know, their professional careers, etc. And that's what I saw with this program. So that's why I think this should actually be the flag waver for these kind of combined programs between the business community and universities in Sydney.
And there's Babette, whose books are used as texts by the Fox Business School in Philadelphia.
I think it's really good. It gives the understanding for students. It gives them the environment of what it will be like to run a consulting project. And I mean, this, you put them under the pressure of exactly what it's like with a consulting project. And I think it's an absolutely excellent way of mentoring and learning how to be a consultant. You know, I found that when I was doing my studies, and we calculated that we'd done over 80 case studies, Harvard case studies during the period of my MBA. And in the end, we still missed the big picture because sometimes we used the wrong, or we didn't read enough the fine print, or we didn't get enough details. When you experience something, the learning goes a lot deeper than a case study. And that's why the experiential technique that you've used in this program, it really goes a lot deeper into the learning process. And so having done 80 case studies, Harvard business case studies, in no way compares to doing some live projects. I think the learning is just, on a live project, is 10 times that of a case study.
When the IBC system works as it's meant to, and it mainly does, everybody benefits. Cameron Green of Willis is happy his company participated.
I think they've come up with some really interesting items for us to have a bit more of a think about.
The group was prepared to take risks in creativity. They were prepared to really look at some new ideas because it was an MBA, it wasn't a professional consulting firm. There was more of I thought there was a lot of creativity there.
I think it was a valuable experience for us in terms of what's come back. Mm-hmm. Definitely some things to think about. Definitely some work to go and do. I mean, it has immediate application in some instances, probably more than they actually realise.
Some of the surveys that they did, it really did validate what we felt was happening out there, but it really did come back and confirm some of those, some of those feelings that we had about what was going out there on the floor.
There's quite a few things that I definitely will take into the next series of meetings that I've got with Glenn.
Good results all round.
Hard work, but worth it.
Definitely an experience.
My ability to deal with pressure, deadlines, and pulling all-nighters again, which I haven't done since my first degree when I was 17.
What I enjoyed most was the fact that it is a real-life project. As Ricky mentioned earlier, it's not just textbook learning. You're dealing with real people and real situations, and they're never straightforward.
I guess I think experiential learning is important in any education, not just postgrad or undergrad, but even in high school. It's when you actually learn how to do things. You can't always learn this sort of things from textbooks, and we sat down with board members and CEOs, and you just don't get that in the other subjects. So I think it is different to the other subjects that there is out there. So.
This is experiential learning at its very best. Demonstrable outcomes, hard work certainly, but with all the rewards of hard work, plus new and valuable contacts in the real world of business.
The program is really an excellent learning, experiential type program. And I think I like it because it makes students who do the subject realise how hard they have to work for it. And that's the reality in life as well.
At UTS, we're proud of the IBC course. We're proud, but we're not complacent. Business won't let us be complacent. We aim to give our students a real future in the real world of business, a world that we've opened up to them, a world in which they can really build their careers.
So if I had a student that says, I have done the integrated business consulting, if they had got that on their CV that they've done it and I know it's involved, I'm more likely to hire a student who's done that than one who hasn't. So that's the way I see the impact, because I don't have to teach them from scratch. You've done all the work for me.